businesses go to line. Some people wanna die for.
Hello, Red Shirts. Welcome to another Friday night world building stream at Follow Me and Die. I was going to try to go on camera tonight, but it took me longer to get all my socials posting that I'm getting ready to stream tonight, that I'm a little late getting started. So I apologize for that. Hope you all are doing well. I am planning to talk about a sea marches campaign that's of basically West Marches, but in a island and archipelago based ocean world. So that's what we're talking about today. Don't seem to have much going on yet, so welcome. Hope you're all doing well. Apologies for my tardiness. I guess I'll give a little update. The Kickstarter art is all done. The final art is done. I've paid for it. The artist has confirmed receipt of payment. I have received the final art in PNG and SVG formats. I've gone over to make sure I have all the pieces. I do, and I've looked over all the pieces and they look good. So the next step involving the art is to get it into my template in Affinity Designer that I can then send off to Drive-Thru Cards to get a test print of the deck and make sure that looks okay. So that's one of the things on my list to do. And my editor yesterday sent me 3 different groups of edits that I need to review. And that's the edits for the rules PDF. So the goal is to try to get those where you've never played the game, you can figure it out from the rules. You might even be able to figure it out from what I've got on the cards. But the rules are soon to be done. So basically it's order a test print of the deck, finish editing the rules. If the test print deck is good, then it's almost ready to go live. The rules PDF has to be finished editing, and then we can finish the layout. Once all that's done, it all goes to Drive-Thru Cards, and then it goes out. And if you want to get it for the Kickstarter price, be sure and back the Kickstarter. I've decided that even if my Kickstarter does not fund, if I get your email address, I will send you a coupon to get the game for the Kickstarter price. So if you want the Kickstarter price, back it. Even if it doesn't fund, you'll still get a coupon for the Kickstarter price. My goal is to have it published and ready to order off of Drive-Thru Cards before 2026. So sometime before December 31st, I hope to have it online. At the very latest, it'll be December 31st, late in the evening, but I'm not going to try to cut it that close. So I'll be busy with that. Next weekend, there will not be a stream. Let me just put that up so everybody sees that. There will not be a stream next Friday, November 14th, because I'll be at the Yukon Gaming Convention in Ann Arbor. Also, the Ann Arbor and Ypsilanti are so close together, people say Ann Arbor/Ypsilanti, Michigan. That's 14th, 15th, and 16th, and I'll be running a scenario. We talked a little bit about it last week, called X Marks the Spot, and it's retrieving the treasure for a treasure map that was one of the pieces of loot recovered by the adventurers in the Adventure Island ran last year. And so that's one of the 2 possible sequels to that adventure. The other possible sequel is probably going to be next year, unless something good comes out of this year's game. We'll just have to see how it goes. So I've got to also do my last minute preparation for that. I got a couple things I got to tie up, but it's kind of stuff I don't want to put on the stream because that'll be a spoiler, and I don't want to spoil it for those that may be at the game. I'll be running the game once each day, Friday night, or Friday morning, Saturday morning, and Sunday morning. So you got 3 opportunities to join in if you're in the area. It's not a very expensive con. You can get a day pass. It's $20 or $25. I forget what it is, but it's not a lot. It's not a huge con, but it's big enough that there's plenty to do. So I'm looking forward to that. So that is the update for what is going on with Kickstarter, what's going on next week. So now on to what we're going to talk about now, and that's going to be a West Marches theme, and I don't have that up. I was going to make a slide, but I didn't make a slide, so terrible, bad. Let's see, let's try that. Let's do that, and let's do that. Let's see how this works. There we go. Let's see. There we go. So as you may know with West Marches, that is basically a style of sandbox play where the game master figures out the true scale of map and plans out a town just enough for adventure outside the town. The town is a place of refuge and recovery, not a place of adventure. So if you want to do something exciting, you've got to leave town. If you try shenanigans in town, you're going to get arrested and you don't get to go adventuring. So you have to leave town. In this case, town will be on an island, and we'll see what kind of ideas we can come up with for that. Hello and welcome. Hope everyone's doing well. You should be able to chat without having to wait. First couple weeks, I guess I had it set where you had to be watching the stream for 10 minutes before you could comment. So if you have any comments or questions, just let me know. So I wanted to bring up West Marches in my browser here. So let me do that real quick. There we go. So if you want to know about West Marches, you can see the original write-up at Ars Ludi. Let me put this in the chat. There you go. So that is where you can read more about it. And the general idea is the players are responsible for organizing themselves and going out to adventure. And the main trick was that the adventure had to be completed in the session. That if you didn't make it back before the end of the session, you're not available to play. And it was a weekly thing, and he had all kinds of people wanted to play. So if you wanted to play, you couldn't play the next session because you hadn't made it back yet. So that is an interesting way to do it. Some people take the West Marches thing, and it's inspired by West Marches, and it's not a true West Marches because it's not necessarily the same thing, but the idea was to give the players more power to self-organize and keep track of who's where and make their maps, because the players had to make a map, and if it wasn't accurate, that could lead to some interesting things, because you just got directions of, well, you go so far this way, and if you don't map it very accurately, well, that's on you. And so then part of the seeding is the game master would basically have some factions and some areas and some monsters and figure out what kind of random encounter tables would be, whether it's positive, neutral, or danger, or whatever that may be. Put a couple of dungeons out there that lead to other dungeons. Have basically the source of adventure and excitement is outside of town, and certain areas are more dangerous than others, and the players may not know which area is which until they figure it out. So that's a style of play I thought was very interesting. So thinking this through, I wanted to just kind of come up with a rough idea. We'll do this size. All right. So we'll get a brush. All right. So let's just say we've got, well, I'm going to resize that. That just seems a little small. We'll make it inches. There we go. We'll do half. Oh, I've got that on. And there. So let's just do a map this way. Doesn't have to be landscape, but that's what I'm going to do. And so whatever the shape is, and this is just very rough, assuming it's a Greenland-sized island, then you figure out where town is going to be, and one way is back towards civilization and is not very exciting because all the adventure is taken care of. There's nothing left to discover, and the adventure is off the other way. So west marches, obviously things were off to the west. Sea marches, things are towards the sea. Well, that could be any direction on an island. So let's, oh, and I did not do layers. I meant to do layers. Let's do this. We'll do copy that, do that, paste that, and we'll come back to background and we'll, whoop, not that, or no, that is right. What do you do? Oh, that is the wrong one. There we go. That's what I meant to do. Let's, well, yeah, let's do this. Get a little ocean in the background. Then we'll add a new layer. This layer, let's make that visible. Turn these off so I don't accidentally mess those up. And we'll do that. There we go. And we'll hello and welcome. Let me get my little thing up about what's going on tonight. We're doing sea marches, taking the West Marches theme and applying it to my ocean world of islands and archipelagos, and we'll call it sea marches. Creative, right? So I'm just working on a rough map. And another terrible habit, I have not saved this yet. So before I totally mess up, let me save that. And I want to save it to images, no, maps. We'll just call it sea marches for now. And let's do this. I want to get my brush. There we go. So all right. So let's say, oh, I did it again. I didn't make my, all right. I just label these. Okay, let's fix this. That won't work. Got to do it on the layer that has it. There we go. All right. So there's that. Whoop. So we got some mountains, and let's get that. And let's say there's some rivers. Okay, kind of like that. And let's say we've got cities. Let's do gray, and we'll do rectangle. Well, we'll do that kind of star. So let's say a bigger regional city, and maybe up north, small settlement, and let's say that okay, I put my rivers on the labels. I'm just batting 1,000 a day. So let's do this. Let's get another one, and this will be adventure area. There we go. So let's say I want to do red. All right. So let's say that, like, oh, that's not what I meant to do. I thought I had my brush. Get my brush. Let's say like that. Well, that's not what I want to do. I want to keep it on that side of the river. And roughly out like that. So we got to cross into this area, and maybe let's get a smaller label. I think about 20 shows up. Oop, that's really big. Let's get a 10. There we go. Let's call it Badlands. So whatever's going on up here, and then let's get us an arrow. Let's see, we want, whoop, let's get arrow. And labeled. And let's just call that rumored ruins on islands. Okay, so that gives the ability to know that the Badlands, there's stuff there that will have, excuse me, areas of possible adventure, and there could be ruins and other things there. So on the big island, you've got some adventure because it's outside the jurisdiction of the town, and because of the river, it keeps them relatively safe. And somewhere to the north, there's rumored to be some islands within a certain distance that have some ruins and supposedly riches in the ruins. There could also be ruins in the Badlands. And then there would be like factions, whatever lives in the mountains. So a common thing is like, you know, the scary goblins or whatever it is are organized and they do their mischief, and if you come across them, they're going to do their mischief on you. And maybe you want to avoid them and be sneaky and get rich that way instead of trying to face them head on, which that makes more sense to me. I'm leaning more and more towards trying to avoid combat if possible. Sometimes you do want a good fight, but all the time gets a little boring in my opinion. So we've got the Badlands, and then there's going to be possible factions. So we want to get a document here, and we'll have island with a small town on the edges of civilization. On the northeast of the island to the west across a river are the Badlands, which span between two rivers. Split by a north-south mountain range that is their source. To the north into the ocean smaller islands with ruins are rumored to be relative close to shore. To the south is civilization, and it is boring because there is no chance for adventure and riches. Okay, there we go. Kind of our little mission statement. So we want to talk about the Badlands area with no government. That'd be according to the civilized people of South. Rumors of some ruins, tales of ruthless bandits, what's the word? We'll call it scheming goblins. Violent ogres and terrible giants in the mountains. West are rumors of even worse things, like monsters. Okay. Oh yeah. What's that guy's name? There's a train break. Train break. Train. Train break. Break it. Break it for the train. Train break. Train break. Train. Train break. Break it. Break it for the train. Train break. Train break. Train. Train break. Break it. Break it for the train. Train break. Train break. Train. Train break. Break it. Break it for the train. Train break. Train break. Train. Train break. Break it. Break it for the train. Train break. Train break. Train. Train break. Break it. Break it for the train. Train break. Train break. Train. Train break. Break it. Break it for the train. Train break. Train break. Train. Train break. Break it. Break it for the train. Train break. Train break. Train. Train break. Break it. Break it for the train. Train break. Train break. Train. Train break. Break it. Break it for the train. Train break. Train break. Train. Train break. Break it. Break it for the train. Train break. Train break. Train. Train break. Break it. Break it for the train. Train break. Train break. Train. Train break. Break it. Break it for the train. Train break. Okay, sorry about that. As I've mentioned many times, there are 5 crossings through town and they have to hit the horn every time, and it's double track, so sometimes there's a train going each way. And I live across the street from the person next to the tracks, so it gets a little loud, and I don't know if you guys can hear it, but I certainly do. So, while I was waiting on that, I found the YouTube channel I was wanting to give a shout out to, Mystic Arts on YouTube. And let me plop their stuff in here. Hit the chat. They also have a playlist on West Marches. And let me plop that in the chat. He's got some interesting ideas on how you tie things together so that when the players go out on an adventure, they get clues to other things that are out there. So there's always enough clues in one adventure location to point them to more than one new thing. So as they keep going back out, they learn, hey, there's more things to go do out here than just wander around. There's goals. And some of the things, it's got descriptions of where it is. Other things is just, hey, there's this thing that's out here. Let's see if we can find it. You know, information, clues, rumors, whatever. And I really like that idea. Another interesting idea is, what do I want to say? The levels to terrain. So different regions in the adventure area. Some is like a first level region, and it's kind of a blur between maybe the first level region is first through third level things, and the next region is third through fifth level things, and it depending on where you go, you could end up in a really high power area as far as wandering creatures going through there. And it's whatever logic makes sense to you, and make it interesting for the players. And I just really like some of the ideas of what different people have done, and I'm making my own Frankenstein of the different ideas, which that's what any game master does, is their own campaign world is a Frankenstein of the ideas they've acquired in their lifetime. All the books I've ever read, all the games I've ever played, all the movies and TV shows and radio plays and discussions and actual games I've been in. That all informs, all of that stuff is, I call my appendix N, is my life experience and knowledge in gaming and adventure and that sort of thing. And whatever I piece together, my own little Frankenstein of a creation, but it's mine. And so that's basically, how I do it. And sometimes I don't even know where an idea comes from. If I think about it, I might be able to say, well, that kind of ties into that, but exactly how some things come together, I don't consciously know most of the time. So a few small dungeons. Oh, then factions. So that'd be like 3 or 4 groups in the venture area that may cooperate or work against or be neutral towards. Factions may make alliances to deal with common goals or enemies. There we go. So that gives us some ideas there. So in this place, let me see, let's have a history section. Dwarves disappeared from the island generations ago. There are only rumors to what really happened to them, but with their absence, there was no one to patrol what is now called the Badlands. There we go. The mountains were once the home of the dwarves, and it is rumored that many of their riches still lay waiting to be identify those adventurous enough to claim them. Okay, so I keep saying so a lot. Bad habit. Apologies. This gives a rough framework. So this is kind of a combination of top down and bottom up world building at the same time, and I'm bouncing back and forth as it makes sense to do so. So I started with an island, then I placed like a capital city down here, and then a small town village up here next to the area of adventure, which we'll just call the Badlands, and determined kind of where that is. And it may be fuzzy, there may be things that occasionally come across the river, but let's just say it's a big enough river that that's not very often that anything like that happens. And anything on the civilized side of the river is basically safe. And the idea is for you don't want to stay in the safe area because nothing's going to happen. It's going to be boring. You're going to run out of money, and you either got to get a job or you got to go adventure to get more. So that gives a reason of why you go out and adventure. The West Marches style is not a city adventure setting. I suppose you could have a quote unquote city marches where you have a city that maybe part of it is abandoned or something and there's adventure there. I'm not, you could take that idea and apply it in many ways. I mean, like Metamorphosis Alpha, you're on a starship. It's basically Gamma World in space. And you could have, the starship marches or whatever you want to call it. The chaos of whatever happened to the starship is the quote-unquote West Marches where the adventure is. So you could take that idea and make it fit any scenario. All right, so we've got that. What else? And I like the idea that Dwergar have moved in to the Dwarven what do I want to call that? The Dwarven strongholds from below and are expanding. So that gives you something different to go on. They may pretend to be the descendant, I cannot type today, of the dwarves of long ago come home to avoid suspicion until they are more firmly established. However, like adventurers, they must also deal with traps. Monsters in new layers in the dwarven home, as well as other dangers accumulated in the absence of the dwarves. So it's not going to be a cakewalk for the Dwergar coming in there that maybe they have. So initially they have a smaller advance force probing ahead to map the best routes for the eventual advance of the Dwergar army. Maybe we can call it Horde. Yes. The Dwergar Horde seeks the Dwarven Horde. Oh boy. Now I'm getting my spelling turned around here. Let me do a little Horde. Okay, yeah, I did spell it right. Okay. Yep. So when the Dwergar came along, they may have found signs of other things that went ahead of them. Could be non-intelligent things, could be other intelligent things. Some things may have kind of come along with them, and whether it's accompanied purposefully and knowingly, or maybe something kind of snuck along with them, and then maybe something followed. So intelligent others could be either allies or enemies or neutral to the Wergar. Okay, so then that's all right. Factions. So we'll have Wergar. Just say false dwarves for now. And potentially allies, neutrals, or enemies from the depths also. And that's what I like about the Mystic Arts channel, is he talks about having factions and sub-factions, and it gets all interesting. We could have the goblins, bandits. Okay, so bandits, they're gonna hide out in the Badlands after raiding across the river. So the bandits are avoiding the civilized forces. They are former mercenaries who turned to banditry after the last war. And these are their descendants. Okay, so they will compete with the goblins for territory and resources in the Badlands. Goblins, let's see. First to move in when the dwarves disappeared. They roam widely in the Badlands, capitalize that, Badlands. Let's see. Seeking food and other resources and patrolling the area they claim. There we go. So that's 3 factions right there. Might make sense to have another faction if the Dwerg, depending on, if the Dwerg are a little more recent. Let me see what else makes sense. Let's just do ogres. let's see. They tend to stick to their caves and rocky places or their lairs, but roam wide when food is needed. Taking any manner of creature that they see as appetizing, which is a broad category. Humans, goblins, dwarves, etc. Plus wolves, bears, lions, tigers. Oh my. Okay, so we've got that. Then monsters. So dragon, of course. So obviously if there's a dragon sleeping on a dwarven hoard, it's going to be the big fancy treasure. So now, what other prominent monsters? Ogres are kind of like monsters, but they're somewhat intelligent. Dragons are intelligent too, but alright, so we need stuff that's more monster-like, that's more worried about food and mating than politics. Okay, so Boule. I just like those. Those are cool. And where is my list of monsters? I tend to stick with delving deeper, so let me get my list of monsters here and just kind of thumb through it. See what strikes my fancy. Okay. Okay. Giant lizards. Manicore sound cool. We've got to have purple worms. And rocks. Some of these are really tough. Like the rock is, I think, like the most hit dice monster in Delving Deeper. Alright, then of course there'll be wolves, bears, there's got to be deer. Deer, rabbit, squirrel. I mean, these are lynx. Cougars. Beavers. I mean, it's kind of like the natural things. Rats. So just kind of a rough mini bestiary to kind of do that. These are more land-based. So then there'd be like saltwater, crocodiles, giant fish, squid, octopus, shark, whale, kraken, dragon, turtle, merfolk. That'd be more of a faction. So the merfolk, they're gonna will trade for items they need or desire by bartering their efforts to recover shipwrecked goods and riches. So if we have a valuable merchant ship go down for a price of whatever it is the merfolk want, they'll go bring it back for you. So we've got that. Okay. Small town. Okay. Let's do this. Town has all the things needed for venturers to prepare for an expedition to the Badlands. Goods and ships for a price. Can take them to the nearby islands. And that will be cheaper than buying their own. May need to get a score of loot to afford that price. May find boats in the Badlands. Let's see. Well, pirates. Avoid town. Have a base on the coast of the Badlands. Trade with the bandits. Maybe there we go. May also there we go. That's fleshing out nicely. Let's see. What do we need to do? Name island. Whoop. Nope, nope, nope. Don't do that. Hit the wrong button. There we go. could have done this in an editor that would do that automatically. Oh, I didn't want an equal sign there. Okay, so this will be group names and leader. Okay. I guess there's a football game at the high school. The sound travels so well from there. I can hear the band just wanging on their drums and blowing their horns. All right. So I've got a dragon name generator I made. You can get it on DriveThruRPG. Okay, what else we got going here? All right, let me go. New islands and archipelagos. Okay. We'll do. Just call it sea marches. Whoop, that's not what I meant to do. No, that's not it. That's not it. There we go. And then, should have just gone into here to begin with. Alright, so I'll just do this. So this is Obsidian. It's a markdown editor. So you can kind of format stuff so it looks good. Alright, I am going to, so we'll do that, and we'll make not dollar signs. There. And so the top level heading is one hash. Second level heading, so you can make sense of it. Alright, then factions, that'll also be a 3 level, but then each faction will be a 4 level. And then you see this little mark behind it, you can collapse them. So okay, Owen Pirates. History will be at a 3, not a 4, 3, not the whole thing. God bless it. What button do I keep hitting on here? Jeez, I cannot type today. Okay. This will be a 3. And then we'll have there. It's a little bit better. I'm going to make that a 2. Whoop. I didn't take my highlight off. There we go. To do. And we'll make that a 3. There. Lots of little things to figure out. Okay, and then dungeons, ruins, places of adventure. 5-room dungeon style. With clues to other locations of adventure, danger, etc. Clues to items, information about various things in the Badlands, from what the goblins or bandits up to, letters between see. Random tables, counters, events, hazards, okay, so encounters need to be not just, oh, you run into 2d6 goblins. It's there can be that kind of encounter, but you can have it be more planned out. So you could plan out certain preset things that may just randomly happen on your table, and you've got it prepared and ready to go whenever it comes up. You could have something tied to a location. So let's see, encounters can be pre-planned that occur when the dice make them, and be tied to a location such as a monster or creature has a natural range around its lair. Or some landmark or item could be found events could be weather, geological, astronomical, etc. Hazards can be brush fires, tree falls, traps, rock slides, etc. Astronomical. Inconceivable. Okay. Let me go back over all these notepad notes. What's that one? Oh, okay. And this, we copied that information out. Yep. Whoop. Get that out of the way. What's this? Oh, okay. And this. So that's enough of a map. What I like about Obsidian is we can do this. There. And then should just let me copy it and paste it. Nope, it's only copying the layer. Let me save it and let me, come on, save it as a PNG, go. Now if I copy it, there we go. That's what I like about that, and since we're using the headings, we can just start collapsing. So there's 4 main layers, and if we open it up, we get the different pieces of it. There. Perfect. All right. So that's real handy. On the to-do, locate the island on the world map. What I can do is that, and it should if I put an X in it. Yep, see how it checks it? Whoop, I broke it. There. Ah, there we go. Once you get it defined, it does what you want. So let's copy that. There. Should have done this to begin with. Brilliant me thinking, oh, I'll just type it up in Notepad, and it's no formatting whatsoever in Notepad. Well, I guess you can do, well, I'm not on the new version of on Windows 11. You've got a new version of Notepad, and it can do Markdown. I don't know how well it displays it. But I'm still on Windows 10, and I got the extended version for free for, I don't know, I clicked on something or other. But I'm getting tired of Microsoft, so I'm looking at moving to Linux full time. I may have to do a virtual machine for Windows to do certain programs, but my computer will be faster because Linux is just smoking. I was going to set this computer up to dual boot when I built it, but I didn't. I'm regretting that. It's a lot of work to go back and redo all that. So I got my Linux box, I updated it, and I'm fiddling with Arch Linux, and I like the simplicity of it. I've gotten kind of lazy with working with the GUI. Way back in the 90s, I was reluctant to go with the mouse. Now there's certain benefits of using a mouse, but I'm okay at the command line. I'm rusty with a few things, but I've been working on getting back in the habit of it. Problem is Windows command line is slightly different on some navigation stuff, plus the Windows command line is pretty puny, and I don't want to put too much time in learning PowerShell. I guess you can get Bash on Windows, but geez. Anyway, what else? Let's go back here. So we've got that. So I was thinking Island 20. So let's make sure we're on the, where's my labels? Labels. And we'll go to here. And, oh, that's tiny on that. Is it 20? We'll call this marches. There we go. Save that, and we'll go to, oh, my spreadsheet. I gotta update my spreadsheet. Where is that? Spreadsheet. Is this it? No, that's my tables. I don't think I did it on the, yeah, that's just my, alright, we want this. Yep, 20, and this will be, C marches. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I've got 6 of those big islands left to have something on there. Okay. So we got that, and let me go to, okay. It's not what I meant to do. There. One thing off the to-do list. Let's see. Where are polity, location, and name. Okay. Just trying to think of ways to make this all kind of fit together and be natural. Oh, let's make it there. Okay. Jeez, I cannot spell today. Or maybe it's type, because I know how to spell. Good grief. I was a terrible speller in 5th grade, though. Oh my god. Hated spelling. English is so messed up. Excuse me.
So
Well, let's see.
you gotta look.
Alright, sorry. I had something come up on my phone. I had to turn that off. Okay, what do we got going here? Oh, I see we got a viewer No comments. Well, welcome. So I built this whole outline just tonight. And let me get the map here. Here's the map I came up with. It looks a little better over here. So here's our map. Super fancy. But start with a rough map and then we can go from there. So this red area bounds what I decided are the badlands, and the rivers come off either side of the mountains, and the arrow points towards rumored ruins on some small islands somewhere offshore, and I decided it's going to be island number 20 way over here. So that's where we are with that. I'm just kind of trying to figure out some names and get a little bit further with this. I usually only stream for a couple hours. We're coming up on 10 o'clock and I started at 8. That's Eastern time here in the United States. And so I'm actually running out of steam. It's been a long week. This time change, I've been getting up way early because of the time change, and my body, I hit about this time at night and I crash because it used to be 11 o'clock. Is that right? Yeah. It just takes too dang long for the body to adjust to this. I wish they'd just pick a time and stick with it. It's great that I'm waking up early, but I'm waking up way too early because I'm waking up more than an hour before I need to, and I'm getting old, and that crap just, I'm not bouncing back. And I've been going hard with stuff around the house. I live in a 100-year-old house, and the dumb thing's needing a lot of things done, and I'm trying to downsize a bunch of crap. Work seems like it's going off the rails. I thought I was going to get some stuff done today and some stuff done yesterday. I did get some, but there's some emergency because they decided they had to do something right now, and I had to spend all this time writing up for my team what we're supposed to do and delegate it, and so all the things I was trying to get wrapped up, so I wouldn't have as much to wrap up next week before the convention and being gone for a few days. But at least I have a job, unlike some poor people getting messed up in this economy. Anyway, enough about my problems right now. It's just a long-winded way of saying I'm running out of steam. So, and also when I start getting tired like that and running out of steam, I start to ramble really. I can ramble pretty easy as is, but when I get tired, it gets really bad. So my apologies for that. Let's see, a name for the island. Been using those name generators, and they come up with names that just I don't like those names. They don't fit. So town name. Let's see. Well, we need So if I come up with a name for the river, well, it comes from, we'll just call it the Dwarf Run. But it's not a dwarven town, so let's see. It's going to be like a small harbor. So, name. It's usually not a ford near the mouth of a river. So, what is the name of this settlement? Welcome. I see we've got some viewers, so I'm working on coming up with a name for a town that I've placed. So Island 20 is where I'm putting the sea marches. Get this to pop over here. There we go. My stream, I'm doing a sea marches version of West Marches. And the island is here. There's a town here, and I'm trying to come up with a name for this town, and then eventually a name for the island. So that's what I am doing. So the town. What are we going to call this? Man, I don't like being this tired. I've got something that's in mind. This happened, I think last stream. I was trying to come up with some name and it was just on the tip of my tongue what I was thinking of. It's not quite on the tip of my tongue, but there's some term that... What is it I'm thinking of? It's the... Gavin's port. Who or what is Gavin? I don't know why that came to mind, but it's a good name. There we go. I love it. Bartertown. Good old Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. Man, my fingers are not going where I want to go tonight. That's what she said. There we go. Whoop. That's not what I meant to do. There. Okay, captured that. What more? I've got a lot of ideas here. Okay, so there's some nearby islands with ruins. How many islands? And then what about islands further out? And so as I mentioned earlier in the stream, you can see I'm going from middle out. So I'm came up with the island, basic idea, place to city, place to town, did some rivers, and then place the island on the world, and then do factions, then do, just back and forth and up and down. So it's kind of a middle out and back. So lots of ways to do world building. This has been a very productive stream. I got enough here. I could just about start running this. I just need to build seed a few dungeons and whatnot, and have a couple other things to kind of tie everything together. But this has gone really well. What do I have here? My checklist. Yes, I need my sign. So, just a reminder, next Friday there will not be a stream because I will be at a convention. I will be at the Yukon Gaming Convention in Ann Arbor, Michigan. I live in Kalamazoo, Michigan, so it's a couple hours from where I live. I go every year, and I will be running a new adventure, part of which we worked on last week a little bit to fill in some details on some things that just kind of flesh out the adventure setting for descriptions and so forth. And so that was interesting. So be doing final prep. I'm off work Tuesday for Veterans Day, so after some appointments I've got, I will use that day to try to get everything finalized for the convention and get printouts and handouts if I need them. And what else was I got to do? Well, and work on the card game stuff. So that's going well, and you can read more about it over on my Kickstarter page. But I have enjoyed doing this. I am glad I decided to do this world building stream to build this, because I fleshed out so much. It may not seem like I've done a lot, and it may seem like I flounder a bit and ramble and bumble through, but that's kind of the way it goes. So I was going to be on camera tonight, but the time change threw me. For some reason I thought I had more time than I did, and I did not get the setup for the camera before 8:01. I noticed, I'm not streaming yet, and I was still trying to do all my social media. I didn't get through all my I had a couple social media I didn't post anything on, so I got to get better about scheduling that, see if I can automate that a bit more. But committing to working on this just a couple hours every week, this is becoming quite the thing. And I did not I'm still not using my idea for building tables to help me build this world, so I need to get those tables cleaned up so I can start working on those. So I may be doing that on a stream. So I need to make just a quick list here. Since I mentioned that, next stream in 2 weeks. Cleaning up the tables so I can start using them for generating things in this ocean world. There. So that's an outline of my plans. So that's what we'll be doing in future streams. So that should work out well. I'm looking forward to continuing to build out this world. Once I get it published, the theme of this weekly thing, so once published, weekly stream theme will change to a new topic. It could be a new project. Publication. What else? Ruins, good Lord, I am. Okay, well, that gives me some ideas. There's, oh, Hello viewers. I'm just making a list of what I'm going to work on after I get this ready. Let's see. I guess okay. Trying to think what else. What else? Good grief. Just trying to think of the kind of things I can talk about. Any input somebody wants to hear my thoughts on. So alright, there's my checklist. Got some ideas for the future. Oh. Excuse me. Oh my goodness. Pardon me. I see there's a viewer just popped in. Sorry if I burped in your ear. That's what I get for drinking soda. There's all different kinds of ways you can stream. Alright, I think that's enough topics and whatnot for now. Been streaming for over a couple hours. As I've been rambling on, mentioned earlier, I'm really dragging and it's getting, my eyes are dry and itchy from being a long day. So I really appreciate everybody that is joined in. There will be no stream next week as I'll be out of town, but we'll pick up the following week, which would be the 21st, which that is not, whoop, get the calendar up. Yeah, so that's not Thanksgiving weekend. The 28th is Thanksgiving weekend, and I don't have anything else to do, so I'll be streaming. So I look forward to that. I hope you all have a great day. Get in lots of gaming, and as always, game on.
Knows how to wield a sword, spells arcane and divine, up on a shield to a wolf, and if you have the time, he's got a mean sales pitch, he even makes it rhyme, and if you need a job, this is his go-to line. Some people wanna die more, I can't imagine why. They say once you bought the bomb, there's nothing left to buy. But if you wanna die rich, go punch up on both eyes. Then raise up your long sword, follow me and die. Yeah, raise up your long sword, follow me and die. Knows how to wield a